There he is on schedule.
Am I that routine?
Hey?
I'm that routine. I'm that predictable.
Yeah, you're a man of the clock.
The flock. I move within the flock, but I don't like to move in the same direction as the flock.
So what are you doing with
Me?
your life?
With my life?
Yeah, you're wasting your life there, doing nothing?
No.
No?
I'm learning.
You're learning? Good for you.
What are you doing with your life, Glenn?
I'm freezing.
I'm freezing. I was just out there walking. I tried to take a walk in the woods a little earlier, and yeah, I get like so much clarity
Yeah.
out there.
Where do you go walking?
Well, in the middle of my neighborhood, it's connected to this trail where people usually ride their quads, and you can go out there, light a campfire, or whatever, and just hang out.
It's like a park?
Yeah, it's connected to a park, but
yeah.
It's really I like it because I don't know, I get a different feeling, man. When I just go in there and just there's no type of I don't feel linked to the civilization in a sense.
Is it surrounded by homes or by big buildings?
Homes. Like I live in the suburbs.
Yeah, but sometimes in the suburbs there's half a dozen big buildings together.
Oh yeah, we have buildings like little plazas with like stores. They have like supermarkets.
But no 40-story buildings.
No. The highest buildings that I've seen is in certain districts, like industrial areas where there's like more business. But out here, it's not as like 10, 20 years ago. Out here was just all woods but it still is a lot.
You're on Long Island, aren't you?
Yeah, Long Island. Yeah.
At which end?
The Suffolk County and towards the near Connecticut. And
okay. The northern end.
Yeah, I can take the ferry over there. And, right, I'm thinking of doing that this one day. Just take the ferry up there to Connecticut. Maybe they'll let me. I want to see what's going on over there. They got a university over there with Yale. I want to see what's all the because I heard that was the Yale unlocks the key to Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
I want to see.
But you've been to Montreal?
Yeah. I never explored Montreal like I would want to though.
Yeah.
Montreal is the last time I've been there was years ago. When I was younger, I used to go over to my family over there. Like a place where all Haitians go and stuff.
Like a what?
It's like a place where all Haitians move to.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's what is it just like they all just decide, okay, all Haitians move. Yeah. In this country.
They want to change, and there's nothing more different than Haiti than 20 below zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you learn, Glenn? What did you learn since I last spoke to you?
Well, we're basically learning details of the things that we've been dealing with before.
Me too. That's what it is, though, I noticed, Glenn. It's it's just looking at the same thing, but always looking at it from a different angle. And I guess that's what, science is, right? Analyzing everything from a different angle. It's I think about it in my mind as a point surrounded by a spear, and from every angle of that spear towards that point, you look at it from every different.
The Olympics basically are fitting a pattern. I was talking to people a couple of weeks ago about a black body bag. And so the Olympics start off with a guy dying in almost the same way as Princess Diana, only the vehicle was different. Kind of swerved off the road all of a sudden and run into a pole. And it all seems so surreal that it seemed more like theater than anything else. And of course, the guy had to pay the price with his life. But the end result of it today is that on the same ride, they have moved the men starting point to the female starting point. So the men are basically being portrayed now as merging with the women. And, you know, it's something that the president of the Olympic Association said last summer, that there was a coming together of the athletes. So I hope that they didn't kill a guy just to make the point, but it sure smells that way.
So you're saying they killed him just out of some message, just to...
Well, you know, every vehicle that has high speed can have a gadget put into it that acts like an automatic pilot when activated, and it's one way of killing people, like John Kennedy and Grace Kelly and Princess Di. All of these people, when they die, there's a statement being made in the activity of their death that goes beyond just living or dying. I certainly wouldn't put it past the controllers of our world to kill people to make a statement. It's slightly different when they do it one-on-one type of thing. And then the other possibility is in Masonic writings, the priests end their letters with "so mote it be," which refers to "so remote it be." So it could also be that the person's medulla is being contacted a split second at a speed of 100 miles an hour, can draw the attention of the person away from what they're doing and lead to their death.
Now, how they have this control of the medulla? They can do this to anybody.
Well, you're dealing with an electrical and chemical structure, much like a computer. And if you have the ability to communicate between computers, it's only a matter of getting the wavelength down to the level, and you basically send a message out to a person in sports. See, most of the activity in sports brings money to the system through gambling. And if you can make a team lose a game or win a game or spread the margin because you detract people's attention, you know, when the ball is coming into a batter, when a puck is coming to the net, when a sled is riding down the hill and approaches the highest speed at the most dangerous curve. All it takes is an instantaneous message that causes the person's attention to be focused slightly in the wrong direction. A goal comes in, a sled goes over the side.
Do you think this is being done from underground?
Absolutely.
From underground, or from
I think
a group of people who have...
I think we saw some effect of that in horse racing, Kentucky Derby type of activity, Belmont Stakes, that type of stuff. I remember watching horses being brought through a tunnel, and their attitude changing completely, and horses breaking down on at the end of a race, that type of stuff. So I'm sure that they've practiced it with animals, but that it doesn't take very much to move that system up to dealing with human beings. Because of that hint of so mote it be, leaves little doubt in my mind that what they're referring to is re, because to them, number two is number one. Do something a second time and succeed, where when you do it the first time, you don't.
And if you think of that number two, number one concept, and to think of remote backwards is the motor.
Yeah.
Motor. What I learned, and I've been learning, I learned a lot of stuff since I last spoke to you last week, I think it was. I'm just learning all like details too. I was reading up on. I've been doing a lot of listening and observing and stuff, but
well, the word you use, motor, is linked to the word root.
Exactly, and that's why
the beginning of something.
And that's why it's in the word fruit, and that's what I was going to come. That's why I was coming to in that allegory. The goddess Demeter. I think she had a daughter named Persephone, and her name tells you everything. Purse phone, and the purse is the bag, and yes, communications. But the whole thing is, she was like imprisoned in Hades, but she was giving a pomegranate by the Lord of Hades, the Master of Hades, whatever, to before she left. And when she went up to the surface again, she was told that she could stay up there if she didn't take anything from the Lord of Hades, and she did, and so she had to come every 3 months or something. She had to go back, so that's why the seasons changed. But really, all it was saying to me was this she's a bag lady, going back to her master, retrieving information, coming back, and he's giving her, inseminating her with the pomegranate, because the pomegranate is all the seeds.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. How they how old it is, or just how they were talking.
Pomegranate was one of the favorite fruits of the Kurds.
Oh yeah. And then if you break down the word pomegranate, it's pome, apple, right? And then you have granite. Granite's like a grainy type of thing they use to build buildings and stuff. And speaking of grainy, Demeter was like a goddess. She was linked to like grain and wheat.
Brain, Iran.
And granite. All little things I find. Because I noticed when you read those older books, like when you read about like those mythological people, it's like when they mention these things, like fruits and flowers, it's interesting when you break down the words, like one flower called the violet. We break down that word. V says V is virgin, and then you have IO10, LE, the T transmission.
Toilet.
But the V virgin and the 10, that's like the new slave. And the transmission, it's...
See, a V can be a C, because the abbreviation for a court, CT, it can also be a T. So violet can be a toilet.
Yeah, and there was other flowers too. Like one flower is called the crocus. And that word, I was playing with that word. So many things, because between two C's you have the word or ro, and ore is like a type of mineral. They said that you can't tell what it is because it's like disguised, the way they described it. And then you have Su at the end of the word crocus, and you could turn the C on its side and turn it to an N, and it's Cronus. Cronus was the god of time, or who devoured his own children. How time seems to do that, devours its own progeny.
Wings is the word most associated with time. All of the Egyptian and Nordic type of mythology. And tonight, the Ottawa Senators will play a hockey game in Detroit. Red Wings.
Red Bull gives you wings.
They're Detroit in French. The word is étroit. It means the narrowing. Things happen, control mechanisms happen in the narrowing of the brain, the neck, on the way from the chest, the spine, up to the brain is the narrowing in the neck. And the Detroit connection is well known. Fjord Foundation. Ford Foundation runs the show. It's between two seas. It's on the one hand got Lake Huron on one side, Lake Michigan on the other side. Above it is a town called Cadillac. Below it is a place called Chicago. It's basically in position on a daily basis to be wiped off the map. Because if you look at all of the activity, weather activity, the southern peninsula of Michigan is usually half in a flood zone. The northern half of it is in a flood zone without any special activity going on. So it wouldn't take very much to wipe it off the map. There's no doubt in my mind that one of these days what you're going to see is a destruction of the canal network leading from Lake Michigan up to Lake Superior. The locks there are run by the Corps of Engineers, U.S. Corps of Engineers, the same people who basically did the work on Niagara Falls 20-some years ago. So I don't know if they're thinking that by being there they're going to be helpful to the U.S., but in fact they're going to be destroyed when a blind thrust rises from below. And that will affect Canada at first, but then the peninsula, that is the northern peninsula of Michigan, it's going to basically break apart as the water from Lake Superior flows through and expands the hole. So,
Glenn, I'm trying to get up there as soon as I can, Glenn. Hello?
there is a danger of the U.S. losing Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo, Rochester, all on the same day. Can you imagine what that would do in the U.S.?
Yeah, it's a blow.
Flushing, New York.
The toilet. And then
Who lives in Flushing, New York?
I don't know. Anybody important?
Is it a specific ethnic community? Is it?
I think so. I think it's Asian, like
Asian
Korean
mostly.
Yeah, it's like Korean and Chinese, Vietnamese.
Well, I would move from a place called Flushing.
I would move from a place called, in Long Island.
Yeah.
Coming through the Rye.
Yeah.
But Glenn,
That's the southern end of the island, right? Next to Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Hatter lives in Manhattan.
I'm trying, Glenn. I have appointments that I have set up. To get up there. I'll have my fingerprints. I have my records from all different types of places coming here.
Well, I don't want to scare you anymore, but we need your brain up here for a while, and probably the energy that you carry. There are a number of people that have energy that, when put together with other people's energy, might stall this plan they have. And then we can all be accused of having lied and told that, it didn't happen.
That's what I want.
That would be the reward for being successful.
Yeah.
So plan on it.
Yeah.
When we succeed at something, we fail in the eyes of everybody else.
That's the mirror effect of the world.
We're not here for pats on the back. So.
We're here for creation. That's why that stuck with me when you said it. When I asked you, I said, why am I here at this time? And you're like, well, creation needed you. It's like, I have a job to do.
Yep.
It just brought me. Yeah.
There are a number of people out there who listen to you that would benefit from hearing the premise of what we're talking about from beginning to end without interruption. And that's practically impossible in an hour or a day or a week.
It's a process. That's how I
hopefully they'll come around,
Hello, I got it. So.
Hello?
Yeah, I got it. Sorry about that, somebody. What were you saying?
Well, a lot of people that I speak to on the telephone repeat the same story to me about how it's important that they raise their children properly and not to let the system control what they learn. But yet these same people don't know the options. They basically know what the media wants them to know. They may have been religious at one time and left that behind, but forgot to take their brain with them when they left the church.
That reminds me of somebody I spoke to. Have an email.
Yeah.
It's a lady. It's like I could tell like she's like was in the I guess the Christian aspect of things, and
Yeah.
she said
Unless you take the time
mhm.
to examine all the options.
Yeah.
The three options given by the system are the option provided by schooling.
Mhm.
The second option is the option provided by religion.
Mhm.
The third option is provided by conspiracy. But nobody gets to talk about the reality option that comes from reason matched up to intuition, and then go out and try to disprove the evidence that's all around, and they will find that this fourth option is the one that's never discussed in public media. And unless they have a knowledge of that, they don't have to agree. They need a knowledge of it before they take on the responsibility of teaching their children. Because teaching children a different lie than the one they're trying to keep them from getting is not much of a benefit.
No.
And often people find place in alcohol or in drugs, and they go to jail. And in jail, they're basically given an option: stop taking drugs, stop drinking alcohol, and come to Jesus.
Yep. Mhm.
And that's no different.
Exactly.
Just a different approach to the same thing.
Mhm.
It's park your brain and take it from us. So instead of parking their brain, they should take some time out in their lives before they die, before they get to be too old, or before they try to teach other people what reality is all about, to at least hear the options that are out there, and especially those options that are not promoted by the media. You're doing part of that work of trying to inform people.
Yeah.
And they need, as part of that teaching process, the proper environment, a real natural environment.
Exactly. And I was talking, I was talking with Dana, and we were saying like we take it for granted that other people like seem to know like at least like the basic things with this stuff. Like I take for granted like I'm one of like very few people who who I don't know I understand this thing.
You've been given a gift, as few people have, to take the time out of your life and suffer the consequences, because it's never easy to do the right thing, but you're approaching it in the right way. Eventually, it'll prove out basically that you made the right choices. Even if you came to a conclusion that you didn't agree with the fourth option, you will always have the certitude that you made every effort.
Yeah.
So much for my preaching. Got to stop talking, or I'll start sounding like a priest on Sunday.
Yeah. Speaking of which, some guy, I seen a guy at my job, and he had some rings on his finger, and I asked him like, "Oh, what kind of rings are those?" And he said, he goes, "Oh, it says Nation of Islam," and you know, later on, he tried like recruiting me. Like he's like, oh, give me your phone number. You could come to the mosque with me. Come see what we're talking about. And, oh man, I was, I'm trying to be, I guess polite about things, but I don't know. Maybe it'd be interesting to see what kind of stuff they're being fed in there. But
everything should be looked at.
Mhm.
Everything should be given its time. In my 69 years of living, I've basically taken the time to look at Christianity, Judaism. I've been a public speaker in an Israeli temple, Beth Zion congregation in Montreal.
Mhm.
I've taken the time to study the difference between Christianity and the different versions of it in Protestantism.
And you were able to do it from like an objective point of view. Right?
Yeah, just listening and getting an idea of what motivated those people.
Yeah.
And were they, in fact, practicing what they preached? Then with Islam, I have much less difficulty making a decision, because anybody who chooses to put women in a bag and call them burqas or whatever and do it for so many years that women begin to think it's normal, there's a problem there. The fact that the word Islam is linked to the word Ami, which is Sima, which is the place from which we are all being controlled, tells me that that's not something that I would want to associate myself with.
Yeah, and Christianity does it too. They call them nuns. They put them in those little things.
Yeah, Christianity did it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Before Islam came about, Islam basically copied on Christianity. So they're no better off. And the only difference is their women in a bag were hidden in a monastery most of the time, whereas the Muslim ones are living in the home. Mind you, they probably have the same job. Making babies was what it's all about. In any event, I've been able to decide for myself that conspiracy exists. They are theories to some. The word theory is linked to Troy. And Troy talks about something hidden within is really what matters. But they don't tell you what it is. They tell you an army inside a wooden horse. Well, the word horse is basically the word for ruse. So if you take it to a conclusion, nothing is more truthful than a conspiracy theory. I know the word conspiracy is true because I've lived through a number of conspiracies.
Well, that's what history is. I mean, it's conspiracies. I know
that it's based upon evidence. And even though the media laughs every time the word is used, that's basically a programming they got in first-year university from the dean of journalism that told them that they had better laugh or they'd lose their jobs later on if they didn't laugh at the word conspiracy. But you can pick up any legal code and look under C, and you'll find conspiracy there. The system has no problem believing in conspiracies if those conspiracies are not doing what they want. But they live a conspiracy. Politics is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Religion is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because they set down the rules for you to follow. They don't say, come examine, make decisions on your own, and if you believe we're crooks, throw us out and get somebody who's not a crook, if you can find one, because we don't let them into politics if they're not a crook.
And that's what I find when I talk to people, like, have a conversation, and I'll say things that from evidence I've looked at, and they're like, oh, that's interesting conspiracy theory that you have. You know, like, I feel like once they label me that, it's like putting me in a box somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's easy. They can basically talk to each other and having pigeonholed you.
Yeah.
They don't need to give evidence. They just need to use the words like pigeonhole or conspiracy theorist.
It's amazing how the words
right-wing conspiracies is Clinton's favorite word, but in fact a conspiracy is not right-wing, left-wing, high-wing, low-wing. It's just a conspiracy, period. and most of the controllers of the world are in on it, if not all.
It's not just the controllers, it's the people who...
people follow.
Yeah, exactly. They all play
5% work for the conspirators, and 87% do what they're told in order to survive. The 3% who are really in charge, you never see them. They're all the hidden feet behind the system. They point the finger at the hidden hand, but a hand's too far away from your soul. Your soul is underneath your feet.
Yeah.
And if you look at pictures of Confucius or pictures of Night Watch, the painting by Rembrandt in Holland, you'll see that behind the scene, underneath, are these two sets of feet. The feet have 6 toes on one foot and 4 toes on the other, basically telling you a little bit about how the division of authority happens left and right. In any event, you can repeat it over and over again, and people who don't want to know won't listen, won't learn, and that's okay. As long as we find 13 people with a functioning brain. So that's the starting point. How many people we found with a starting point, I don't know. And I really don't want to know. I just want to take a wild guess. And let creation decide whether or not they really have a functioning brain. But if we can assemble 13, then we have a chance of stopping this madness. Here I go talking again.
Well, I'm more confident now, like in myself.
Yeah.
I just see, like in myself, I see, like I was born to do this type of stuff.
Yeah. You have a talent. The talent is different from most.
Mm-hmm.
It is similar to, but not like anybody else's. And it's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And nobody is perfect. Everybody is probably more than 90% imperfect. But if you have a percentage of perfection that amounts to 7 or 8%, that's terrific. Put enough of those people together, and together they create perfection. Not alone. It's like a machine. you can have gears, and you can have levers, and you can have springs, and you can have all kinds of parts. By themselves, they're absolutely useless, except take up a space in the warehouse. But when you assemble them in the proper manner, and the gears fit within other gears and lift certain levers that pull on springs, and in the end, you have perfection when it comes to creating an activity that needs to be created. And the activity we need to create is thinking and then willing our own will rather than using words given to us that are always 2, 3, 4 meanings. And when we think we're willing our own will using words, we're in fact just helping the system.
Yeah, I think about that. Like when people say, I can't find the words to express this, because there isn't words.
That's right.
Because it was never meant to be expressed with words.
Yeah. It's like in the original Hebrew temple, there was no vowels except in the hands of the teacher. Yeah. And only the teacher could tell you what he really meant. You were left with consonants, and that's like being given pieces of the puzzle with a whole bunch of pieces missing. And you're supposed to assemble a picture. You know? Doesn't work. What you have to do is think pictures, think imagery. Don't think words. Don't think letters. They are the philosopher's building blocks, and the philosopher can only earn a living working for the system. Nobody pays anybody to be a philosopher, except those who want him to philosophize their direction.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like
they hand it out by the day or by the week or by the month, so they can hold it back at the end of the month if the guy hasn't said the right thing.
Yeah, I see that with like I see when they talk about order out of chaos. Like another, I guess, overstanding of that is like the thought is order out of chaos. Like
yeah.
Because you're trying to make order of what you're seeing around you.
Your order requires all the parts, all the pieces.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I see what
system won't give you the pieces.
No, they won't. It's but they're there. It's like an analogy a friend of mine gave me. He said it's like you're in a prison, right? But when you're in, there's actually like a crack, a hole in the wall. It's so small you can get through.
Yeah.
But they're not gonna tell you it's there. But it's there, but they're not gonna tell you.
Yeah.
And that's how the system works.
Yeah.
So.
And a small crack, when you feed water through it, it doesn't take long before it becomes a big crack. So water is the basic material of life, but it can also be the basic material of death, especially in a toilet.
That's what they say in Haiti. One of the things that they say in the religion of voodoo, they say everything is poison. Mm-hmm. Basically saying that water can be good for you, but it can also kill you.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what everything.
Anyway, I'm going to shorten our discussion for tonight. Mm-hmm. I got to get back to doing some homework here.
Oh, okay. I don't want to get in the way of that.
Yeah, there's only a couple of days left before the Olympic hockey starts, and then I have to search for all the Tiger Woods in the world that play hockey and see if there isn't one of them out there that might join us here.
Wow.
I'm hoping that before too long, Tiger Woods himself, having gone through his experience, would consider visiting the farm and listening to our point of view, and then go back and sit on his billions and think about the future. He's only going to have half the billions he had before because divorce will cost him the difference. That's okay. He can live on that. Yeah.
All right, Glenn.
Okay. Good night now.
All right, good night.